Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been kind of an emotional week for me, and I'm about to tell you guys why. But before that, I do have some good news. I think I figured out what I want to name this podcast. It's been difficult for me to give this podcast a name because I just couldn't really figure out what I want to talk about. But since it's been such an emotional roller coaster this past few weeks for me, actually, I thought to myself, why not just talk about, what I'm actually doing, the things that I struggle with. And so, what I've been doing officially since last November, which was November 2023, which was after I quit my last job, was to try to build a business, right? I didn't know what kind of business I wanted to build exactly, but I knew I needed to start at the content creation level for some odd reason, right? I mean, it's actually not an odd reason. It has a lot to do with my idea from a few years ago that I've been wanting to become one of those, successful creators that you see where they get to travel and, just work like having like a location freedom. But anyway, the name of my podcast, the podcast that you're currently listening to, is going to be called Building Through Pain Podcast. Let me explain. I am someone that probably has complex trauma. I haven't really been diagnosed. The closest pre-diagnostics that I've had with my last therapist was that she was getting to where it's I was having something like PTSD. And then I got scared and I didn't go back to therapy for a long time, right? But I'm about to restart tomorrow with the same therapist plus another therapist and a behavioral therapist. So technically, I'm going to have three therapists to help me through this. The reason why I self-diagnosed as having CPTSD or complex trauma, or some people like to call it childhood trauma, is because frankly, I've had a lot of childhood trauma. My parents are still very dysregulated. I've never developed the regulation and the communication that is needed to handle a lot of things. But to make everything short, I've always been around dysfunctional situations. I am 39 now, going on 40 in January. It's September 19th today, by the way, of 2024. And I just never really had much of a chance to actually refine my communications and regulation skills, right? So I've always been in this kind of a cycle, or people that are into Eastern philosophy, it's like a type of karmic cycle, right? So I've been stuck in this cycle for many, many, many years until my marriage finally officially fell apart. I got two divorces from the same guy, and I will tell you guys about that later. And anyway, so I am someone that is working on my complex trauma while I'm trying to build my business. So this is where the name Building Through Pain comes from. I understand that pain is everywhere. It's for everybody. In the Buddhist theology, even though there's no no God in Buddhism, samsara, we're living in samsara. Samsara is just a place of suffering, right? So in order for us to break away from suffering, we have these practices that that helps us change our mindset, where we actually learn to see suffering as opportunities for growth. So while I am still struggling with my complex trauma, I'm still building. Why would I do that? Why would I want to start a business that I don't even know at first when I first officially started, where I didn't even know where I was going, while being aware that I have deep trauma, deep developmental trauma. Maybe not as deep as some other people has experienced, but there's still developmental trauma. So why would I want to do that? It's because ever since I came across personal development, I've just been so freaking in love with it. I'm tired of feeling stuck. My current philosophy is that we're going to either be, pain is going to be there. Without pain, there's no opportunity. If something doesn't hurt, we usually won't self-reflect. So, hold on, I lost my train of thought. 1 second. Okay, so I think that, either we're going to be in pain, being stuck, or we could have, choose to have growing pain, choose to grow and still be in pain. So when I look at things like that, which one seems like a better, option, really? We either stay stuck until the day we die and still be in pain, or actually have the opportunity to turn our pain into something useful. When I say the word useful or beneficial, I'm not only thinking about something that only benefits myself. One thing I really, really learned from so far from my journey, even though it's still just the beginning, is that when we are suffering, a lot of times we're really overtly focused on our own issues. For my case, when I remember that, everybody else is also suffering for their own, in their own problems or whatever, then it gives me that, it kind of gives me a bigger picture. So in order to be, also there's another thing, I think it's called the 4 boxes of stupidity or something. Anyway, that's not really the real name, but you guys can look it up later. But think about a quadrant, right? So we have this piece of paper, we draw 2 lines, like a big cross in the middle of the paper. So visualize that. So the first box, it could be any of the boxes. Choose one of the boxes that, we've just drew out in our mind. So for the first box, which is quote unquote the stupidity, so the stupidity box is someone that consistently behave in a way that does not benefit themselves or other people. So they're just all around being destructive, right? So that's the base box within this quadrant. And then the next level would be someone that does things to only benefit themselves and actually harm others. This is still within that, I hate to say this word, but it's still kind of within that stupidity level. The reason why this is not a good idea to, do things to harm both yourself and or others, or do things to benefit yourself, only yourself, while harming others. The reason why this is not beneficial, it's not healthy for anyone, is because I really do believe that we're built for each other. There's a deep sense of interconnectedness. What I notice from just observing my own trauma is that when we are in a very traumatized state, and when we're not aware of our state, of our actions, of our behavior, of our patterns, we actually are very disconnected to other people. So I really do believe that our natural state is to benefit both ourselves and others, which leads to the last box. So actually, I skipped one box. The other box after the box that's, you don't benefit yourself or others, or you benefit only yourself to others. The other box that I failed to mention is the box that's about you only benefiting others while harming yourself. That's still not it. So the reason why I wanted to mention this, I call it quote unquote quadrant of stupidity, for lack of a better term for now, is because I do believe that, we're supposed to move towards a state, in the Buddhist term, like an egoless state, where we're doing things that could benefit both others and ourselves. So that's the ideal. Going back to building through pain, the whole topic, something that has happened to me that I caused it. Like, I don't want to say like it has happened to me, but like, I know I caused it. Is that, let me just start at the beginning. So somewhere back in March, there's this lady on LinkedIn that just messaged me out of nowhere, and she told me that she is, she's a licensed financial professional, and she's out to, help families and individuals, educate families and individuals about their finances, and, to help them grow and stuff. So she told me she's with this organization where pretty much they're providing free financial education and financial services. And I sat down with her for 2 sessions, right? So I sat down with her through something called the day one presentation, where she gives me these knowledge about finances, which really, really intrigued me. So, and then at the end of the presentation, she kindly offered that she can do a free financial review with me. And of course, I accepted that. So we did that. And then, so after that, I was just like so curious. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I want to say her name. Her name is Kiana. I usually don't name drop, but I'm name dropping today because I want to give her credit for everything she has done for me in the past 6 months. So anyway, I was able to learn more about them. I was just very awestruck by how helpful Kiana is. So I started asking her more and more questions. I was just originally I was just asking her about business questions, because I told her I just started doing business and I don't know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And she was very kind with her time and energy and resources. And she sent me these resources about she sent me an example of her own pitch deck, which I had no idea what a pitch deck was until she sent me her pitch deck, so I can see what it is. But because of how helpful she still is very helpful, I decided to see if I could, do what she does, because it seems like it's a very fulfilling job, right? We're, out there trying to help individuals and families with their finances, and all these services are free, all the education's free. And that is exactly how I joined GFI. GFI stands for Global Financial Impact. It is a fintech company. They are backed by, at the time that I'm talking about this currently, they're backed by 25 plus Fortune 500 financial companies. So they're working with these top grade A companies to help bring education and services to families and individuals for absolutely free. The reason why they've been doing this, or we've been doing this, or let's say they've been doing this, is because nearly 70% of Americans are actually not on track to retirement. And this is a really sad reality. Consider that America, we're no longer like a developing country. We've been developed, especially like after World War II. But the sad reality is that 70% of us are not on track to retirement, which this should not happen, right? With the fact that we actually have money floating around in our economy. But okay, I went off track, but so I joined them, and I was given a team of mentors, of 5 mentors that were just teaching me everything about how to run a business, from how to, do cold outreach, how to talk to people, how to do my presentation, how to write content, how to make videos. They just been so good. But guess what? Because of my own lack of regulation skills, and I also don't want you guys to think that like I'm completely dysregulated, because I'm not. It's just like certain things that it's just that certain things I don't catch myself until it's too late. And like too late means like until it comes out, until I lashed out. Okay. I really don't like to use the word lashed out, but I did kind of lashed out at my mentor, Kiana. Remember, she has been helping me all these months for 6 months. And last week, I was very emotional. I just woke up in the morning. I broke my own rule of not, sending messages or email at least the first hour when I wake up, particularly if I haven't had a restful night's sleep. But I broke my own rule, and I started sending her these messages after messages, like telling her, my struggles and stuff. And guess what? It was a Sunday morning. She was in church. She even told me, but I was so blinded by I was so wrapped up by my own struggles that I saw her message, hey, I'm in church. Can we kind of take this slow or pause or whatever? I overrode her, and I kept on talking. And I think that was highly disrespectful, highly triggering. Now that it's an after, in hindsight, I can see that. I think there's still other stuff that I'm unable to see at this point. But not just that. Check this out. Oh my God, this is crazy. Not just that. We have these groups that we have a group on Circle, and we have a group on Telegram, right? This is how we communicate with the team and the other agents. They are, I think at the time as of today, or as of the last time I found out, there's over 1,200 agents right now with GFI. So, we need a way to communicate with each other. So that's why there are all these groups and stuff, and there are all these meetings, there are meetings and trainings. There are trainings every freaking day, live trainings that GFI offers. But anyway, somehow I've just been, getting overwhelmed. And I know my communication skills isn't on par. It might sound okay when I'm speaking like this on a podcast, but apparently when I need to work with a team of people where things don't always go right, I started getting frustrated. And I needed a break. Actually, I started feeling frustrated back in June. So I told him I needed a break for 2 days, blah, blah, blah. And someone sent me a message during the vacation, my short vacation, about, hey, hop on, it's the team meeting. It was like a Wednesday, and I kind of got mad at that because I thought because in my mind, let me just, say it, because I thought I done told y'all I'm on vacation. But check this out. I only told one mentor like I need some time off. I didn't tell all the mentors. Remember, I have 5 mentors, right? So another mentor doing her job, wasn't being pushy. She was being, like, she's just like being positive about it. Hey, hop on. So I ended up like just hopping on, not happy about it. And I remember I was on the Outer Banks on the ferry. I was super tired because I woke up like 3 o'clock in the morning that morning just to drive to the Outer Banks. I live like 7 hours away from the coast. I'm in Western North Carolina, by the way. And I begrudgingly got onto the call, but like I was kind of rude because our executive marketing director, which is our team's our team leader, he was actually trying to what is the word? Hold on, give me 1 second. I still can't think of the word, but like he was like during the meeting, he put my picture on the presentation to encourage me to tell everybody what a good job I was doing. And there I was, just sitting there in my vehicle with my phone sitting on my on my knee, not wanting to look at the camera while they were calling on me. That was super rude. But anyway, yeah, I had a bad attitude about that. But they didn't say anything bad. Nothing was mentioned. So, but fast forward a little, I started getting more and more like dysregulated very subtly. So like I kind of went like up and down a little, like quite a bit for a few months. Like I was trying to like do everything that I was asked to do. And of course the frustrations there, especially if it's something like that it's not so much about something I haven't done before. Like I've done a lot of shit that I haven't done before and I'm fine. But like certain things that it's required because it helps, my business, I struggled. So I started having these, I think what happened is that I started, like, yes, there's bad emotions, but I also started following my my distortions, and it's just like snowball rolling down a hill. It's just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger very silently. So fast forward into this month, September. At the beginning of September, I noticed that hey, I need a break again. So I forgot to mention, I restarted working at my old job again because they really need me and I really need the money while I built my financial services business. So I restarted that job, and things were going well until our clients at the other job. Now, I'm a residential counselor at the other job at a behavioral health facility. And we specialized in teenage boys. We specialized in, helping teenage boys that are PSB. PSB means problematic sexualized behavior. So technically, if you want to put it that way, it's not like a nice way to put things. They committed some sort of like sexual offense, and this is why they are with us instead of being out and about in the community. But a lot of these boys came from very traumatic background, obviously, and sometimes they manipulate, and that is one of my biggest trigger, is when I feel like people are manipulating. And that added another little snowball, like another subtle one. So that kind of kept on rolling and rolling. And another thing is that I've been seeing my dad more. I need his help, and he also needs my help. And we have never really figure out like a way where we can like actually communicate properly. So whenever my dad goes through his cycle of abuse, which we all have, okay, I cannot handle it. I don't know how to regulate myself. So when my dad started literally like shaming me. Like, that's what his cycle is about. He just start, shaming me and putting all these assumptions on me. I didn't know how to take it. I thought I said something about it, and then I don't know. It just all this just kind of rolled into one humongous avalanche where on that Sunday morning, I lashed out onto my mentor, Kiana. Again, she has been there for me all along, 6 months, and to this day, to the day, today, before I started this podcast, maybe 10 minutes before that, she was still showing me her compassion. I am sorry. I told her I'm sorry. I want to say this again. I'm sorry. Rather than me getting overtly emotional, which does not help because I don't want this to be a poor me thing. Rather than me looking at this as a failure, I now know that how serious my pattern is. I have a pattern with disrespecting my mentors. She's not the first one. I had a life coach for 1 month. She was starting her life coach program, and she was kind enough to, let me be her in her beta program, which was free. And she also came out of complex trauma herself, and she decided to, like help others in finding their purpose, especially midlifers like myself. And what I want to say is that I ended up, it was supposed to be a 3-month program, but I ended up becoming very, very dysregulated. I think that was back in March, between March and April. Like I was a lot more dysregulated with her than with Kiana. So I guess I have improved a little. But yeah, I became dysregulated, and one morning I projected my bullshit onto her through like a bunch of voice messages, which was extremely triggering. So that's one of my patterns, and there were other mentors before that, okay? And I will confess and go into details later. The reason why I get so personal, I've decided to get this personal in public, is because I feel like this is where the lessons are. The lessons lie in our quote unquote failures, struggles. Let's say struggles. They're not complete failures unless if we decided to close our hearts. By close our hearts, I mean decide to, disconnect with others. Decide to not communicate anything about how you feel, what had happened, or at least what you think had happened, and try to be as honest as possible. And dang it, I lost my train of thought again. Hold on. Okay. So because of going back to the GFI, I think because of how I behaved with Kiana quite a few times, which I hate to admit, I'm admitting it now, I have behaved very disrespectfully to my mentor Kiana, who has done absolutely nothing wrong. My projection at her is about her giving me unsolicited advice. Yes, I somehow thought my mentors helping me, giving me advice, which is what they're supposed to do, I somehow labeled their advice as unsolicited advice. It's funny because I'm actually looking myself in the eye this whole time. It's been almost 30 minutes, me on this podcast. I'm looking at myself in the eye in front of my tablet, the reflection of it. So this is really interesting. Oh yeah, anyway, God, I keep going off track. But anyway, going back to Kiana and GFI. So because of this, my mentors, I have 5 mentors, remember? My mentors decided to, get on a call with me, all of them and me. And me being still dysregulated, and I refused to drink coffee that day. I don't know if it's like a part of it too, but like, I don't know. But anyway, like they wanted to hop on a video call with me to, like hear me out and to discuss how we could, move forward professionally. And then I kind of had an attitude about that. I was like, why did you have to you could be straight up with me. Like, why do you have to say that this is like a high level leadership call? So I was like kind of nitpicking, like whatever. I felt duped because I felt like maybe you could just, why don't you just tell me like, y'all need to get on a call with me? Why do you have to say that it's a such and such a call? But yeah, that's nitpicking behavior. So I ended up getting on a phone call with my other mentor, Noah, and he heard me out. Okay. He asked me like, to just, like tell him what's been going on. And I told him what's been going on. And then he asked me how I felt about GFI, and honestly, my attitude was really not that good that day. Obviously, that one Sunday morning. By the time I was talking on the phone with Noah, it was Sunday evening already. So I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something about I started my personal development journey before GFI. So like, that's kind of like, like not too nice. But anyway, at the end of the phone call, Noah kindly suggested that he asked me, he's like a few weeks ago, you told me that you wanted to take a break. Did you feel rested? It's been 2 weeks. Did you feel more rested? Blah, 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 blah. I kind of said like, yes, but I wasn't really obviously I wasn't really that rested. So he kindly suggested that I take an indefinite break, right? And that's when I fell silent, like literally like a bag of rocks dropped like onto my heart or something. I don't know. And I became silent, and Noah's been very compassionate with me also, and he just suggested that, and he noticed that I didn't say anything, so he asked me, do you have something to say? Like, I was like, no, and then I didn't get off the phone for some odd reason. I was just there, so he asked me, he wanted to make sure that, I have something to say, and nothing could come out of my mouth because I was so shocked, right? I think I just told him like, okay, indefinite break. So I guess that's better than being kicked out. And Noah just kind of, like he just kind of laughed a little, which I still don't know what that means. But anyway, we got off the phone. I hit the hang up button like too early because I remember I heard Noah say bye as I was hitting the button, which I did not mean to do that, by the way. I was kind of, shocked. I almost cried. Didn't cry though. It's all right because like honestly at that point crying doesn't help. It was my fault. So, and plus he said that it was an indefinite break, right? And that's exactly what I needed. And so I accepted that. And it's Thursday now. So it's been 4 days. And oh yeah, before the phone call, I had to run my mouth on one of the groups that we have on Circle. So our executive marketing director made a post about like introverts and stuff. For some odd reason, I was being like very butthurt already, so I should have just shut my mouth. But I figured, I don't know. I was thinking, you know what? I figured I'll just say something. So I kind of said something. I don't know I still don't know if that was like really offensive. I didn't take a screenshot of what I said, but I did kind of like try to correct him, which is really not respectful anyway, because that's my boss. So, and looking back at what he said on the post today, which I did take a screenshot, there's actually nothing wrong with it. I can understand where he comes from. So when I understood his point and choose to not nitpick, that's when I actually, see the actual meaning behind what he was trying to say. And anyway, I don't know if it's because of the combination of like a series of my unacceptable reactions. I logged back onto Telegram and Circle that night to see if, I've missed anything. And I was no longer on both those groups. So then I logged onto my account, my GFI account. Okay, I'm still cool. I'm still there. And fast forward today, I tried to log back on to my GFI accounts. There are two. I was able to log on to two, but for some odd reason, when I tried to log back on again today, my accounts have been deactivated, and it might seem cold, but I don't really feel sorry for myself at this point. Like I said, it is my fault that I was unable to regulate myself. My childhood trauma was not my fault. I know that. It's nobody's fault. My parents, their generation, they didn't have what we now have, the level of mental health awareness that we now have. And my dad's in his mid-70s, late 70s. My mom's in her mid-late 70s too. So just imagine that. And also, we're immigrants, right? So, yeah. So I don't feel sorry for myself. After I found out that my account's been deactivated, I sent Noah a message. He did tell me before we hung up on the phone that he is leaving like an open door for me. So anytime I need to talk to him, I can. See how compassionate these people are. And this is why I sent him a message. And after that, I also sent Kiana a message since I haven't spoken with her since the incident on Sunday. And I just wanted to tell her, how much I appreciate her. And like, I realized some of my patterns that I need to work on. And then I told her, like, hey, I just realized that, I got, my accounts got closed down on my GFI accounts got closed down. And so this is goodbye. And we just kind of talked a little bit here and there. And she told me, the executive marketing director, which is our biggest, our team's leader, he's going to send me some information, which I don't know what it's about. But anyway, deep down, I feel like there could still be like a chance. I even told Kiana that I have, even if there's a 0.000000001% chance that I can, fight and or beg my way back after I figure out, after I fix this pattern, this very, very important pattern, which is very interpersonal in nature. After that, I will come back and beg. Why would I do that? I don't usually beg, right? I do that because obviously my mentors are cool people. They're compassionate. I haven't talked about my other three mentors, but just it's not just about that. GFI really does have a really good system. I don't feel like I want to go into details about it, but what more do I need to say? Like, there's live trainings every single day online. There's like pretty much like 5 mentors, online training every day that if I want to go, I can go. The platform, just the opportunity, all around opportunity. And it's funny because I already have like quite a few clients in the pipeline, and I feel like if I don't know, some of these people, I don't know when the next time, I don't know, I don't want to destroy their financial future just because of my bad behavior. To sum it up. So how I feel about GFI, like what Noah asked me on the phone. when I wasn't, well enough to answer him. I obviously really, really love GFI. And like I said, I would never beg for something that I don't like, obviously. And that's that. This is a very important lesson. Just even if I will never have an opportunity to join GFI again, I have the license now. I have, the license to do what I do. If I want, I can, go to other companies that does similar things. I can't really see myself much of doing that because that's just how much that's how much I really want to work with GFI, even though I fucked up. And even if I don't want to follow through with this financial services thing, I still have my memoir that I'm currently struggling on writing. My content, I'm writing. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I still have another business, like another business. I want to say business line, another business door another business pathway that I'm walking through. So the difference between me now comparing to if the same thing would have happened to me maybe even just 1 or 2 years ago, I would have probably tremendously hated and blamed GFI and all the freaking mentors that were so freaking mean to me and fuck everybody and blah, 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 blah. No, I noticed that for me to actually not be a hypocrite, since I already said to myself and to everybody on this podcast earlier that I am into personal development, I do and I stick with what I say I would do and I love. So if I become a bitter person over this, then I'm actually beating myself up. If I beat myself up, then there's no way I could continue with, other stuff that I have control. I have control now. So now I have control with the memoir thing, with writing articles on Medium or Medium stories. I can still make videos on YouTube. I just started this podcast, 2-3 days ago. I can do this. These are things I can control. The GFI part, I really probably will just pray about it. And even if, like I said, even if I will never get back in because of my behavior, right? It's not harming me. It's a really great lesson. It really needs to hurt at this point, since it's been like a more pervasive pattern of me to disregard and disrespect my mentors, that it would probably need to hurt to this level for me to actually do something about it. So, and here I am, I'm doing something about it. I see this podcast as, yes, obviously it's my confession, but it's also a way. I think when talking about our shitty experience is really difficult. I know, because of the difficulty of the situation. This is why I actually am sitting behind my microphone right now to talk about it. A lot of times when we consume personal development content, a lot of times we only hear about hindsight stories, right? Yeah, a lot of these very successful people, they've had really fucked up stories to tell. But it's happened so long ago, blah, blah, blah. It's cool. It's a good motivational story. But very rarely does someone actually talk about their struggles as they're happening. I've always thought that, it's probably better to wait a little, instead of talking about your struggle in the midst of struggle. That is a correct thought, because if we look at it this way, we can, if we're in a struggle, deep in our struggle, and cannot see the bigger picture, we probably shouldn't. I don't know. We can vent about it. I don't know. It depends on I think it depends on your support system. if you have a good support system, I think we can vent about it, to the people that are safe to us. If we don't, we can journal, whatever, get therapists, get multiple therapists like me. But it's just the reason why we shouldn't talk about struggle is while we're struggling is because of the negativity that could happen. But I feel like because I'm kind of a smart ass, right? That was an advice I've read from an article. This is just someone else's idea. For me, since I'm an advice hater, right? Like, geez, since I'm an advice hater, since that advice have stuck with me for that long, just from reading that one article, I wanted to defy that by being able to talk about my struggle while I am struggling. I feel like we can do this as long as we don't keep the conversation or the content negative. Like, by negative, I mean if we keep the conversation closed, if we're just only complaining and bitching without the self-reflection, without the self-reflection, which leads us to seeing the bigger picture, which leads us to, seeing our own fault, which leads us to, fixing our patterns or correcting our patterns or transforming our patterns, whatever way you want to look at. If we can do that, then it's okay to share our struggles as we're struggling. So that's it for today. I can't believe I ran my mouth for 46 minutes and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 seconds now. So I just want to thank you guys for listening to me. My articulation's going to get better. I haven't really prepared what I was going to say today, except for in my mind. Maybe later I'll like produce like some kind of like list or points that I can go through. So I also have like hundreds of articles that I can, like talk about and stuff for the podcast. But anyway, to recap, the podcast's official name is now called Building Through Pain. I am in pain, probably tremendous pain, but compared to where I was just a few years ago, I am not in that kind of pain where I am in self-pity. So, building through pain is my path to transformation, my path to personal development, my spirituality. And I just want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys again soon. Have a nice day.